Nothing better than a few laps of a fantastic motorsports facility on a beautiful sunny day. We are here at Florida's newest motorsports facility, Circuit Florida. We're gonna check out all of these great corners out here today in our BMW 435i project car and see just what they are building for the future of motorsports here in Central Florida. Located roughly halfway between Orlando and Tampa, Circuit Florida is Florida's newest country club style track and one that we were eager to check out. Our BMW 435i project car was the perfect companion to check out a brand new racetrack, and track manager Adam Rickardell showed us around for our first laps of this brand new facility. One of the first things I'm seeing just looking out towards the track is this is not flat.
No, we have elevation, and everything we did here is we didn't bring any dirt in and we didn't move any dirt. So Bob Barnard, who was the track designer, he used all the natural elevation, and you'll see that during the lap. So as we come in here, we're going to enter the track here, and I'm going to stop up here at the top because this is unique in the state of Florida, and as tracks in Florida, I can actually say this. I am at the highest point of our circuit. So if you look out, everything drops down from here. Drove the track with different types of cars, momentum cars, high horsepower cars, and I just kind of placed where I wanted the curbing. Of course, I wanted to add more and they wouldn't let me, but that's okay. But this is a kind of a cool corner. So we call this our Amazon straight. This comes down into a nice little dog leg left here. In a higher horsepower car, yeah, you can go flat through here, but guess what? You're driving. This is a driver's track. I flatten this curb out here so that I can use all of it. Now this is an interesting corner. So this is turns 8 and 9. It comes into a double apex, downhill, off camber, which is kind of cool. It kind of draws you in. You think you can carry more speed in here, but you can't. So you have to be a little bit patient as you come in. And then come on out and draw it up here, climb this little hill. This is your fastest straightaway. Actually, that one's pretty quick too. If you look at my brake markers, you don't see the number 2 and you don't see the number 1 because under heavy braking, you're going to drop about 15 feet. So you'll want to set up your braking a little bit early. Now you can just start to see the number 1, and then as you come down,
oh, in the end of the braking area,
it falls off a little bit, and then we drop in here, come in. This is turn 12. This is our entrance into the paddock. Here's another little curb I added because I'm going to use that all the time when I come out. And then set yourself back up here for turn 1. We're climbing from the lowest part of the track all the way to the highest part of the track. Here's turn 1, turn 2 coming up, and then here's turn 3 where we entered. So I'll go a little more spirited.
So then it was time to suit up and head out on track. And first impressions after that sighting lap with Adam was it was very cool to see a track in Florida that actually used some of what very little natural terrain we have in really interesting ways. What a fun, sort of rewarding track to drive. The grip is really impressive. It's not like the stickiest track I've ever driven, but it honestly is one of the most consistent tracks I've ever driven, where the entire width of the road has very, very consistent grip across its width. Like, it was obviously laid down by pavement contractors who knew what they were doing and who knew the blend of pavement to use for a proper racetrack. So the track gives you so many options, and there's so many really neat sight lines, and the corners are well designed in that they let you experiment a little bit, and they sort of let you take different approaches. And I would imagine this is going to be also a track that drives completely differently, whether you're in a fast car or a slow car. You know, I like to say that, well, every car is a momentum car, but this track will have a very different personality for different cars. And even for those different cars, it might have multiple personalities where you'll be able to produce a very similar lap time by approaching it with a couple of different techniques. So I'm looking forward to going out there and actually doing a couple of really hard push laps when Chris isn't bugging me to get photos, because there's some really fun experiments out there. It's also really cool to be in my home state of Florida, where I've lived my entire life, and to be driving with elevation changes. I mean, there's not Road Atlanta or VIR type elevation changes here, but there are several corners out there that have a very different flavor because there's a vertical component to them, and that's really, really cool. There's some some that take grip away from you. There's some that give grip to you. There's some corners that do both of those things. They give you grip on the entry, and then the grip sort of goes away towards the exit because the elevation changes a little bit, and that's a real treat in Florida. That's not something that we get to experience very often because this is such a flat state. And even though we do have some undulations and some rolling hills, most of the racetracks that get built in Florida, they just flatten the land and start from there. They've actually used the natural contours of the land here, and it's produced some corners with quite a bit of character. Other thing I'd say is I feel very safe here. There's some risk-reward corners, but there's no corners that you're risking your life in or you're risking your car in. It's a nice wide track. It gives you, doesn't force you onto a single line. It's pretty to look at. It's rewarding to drive. Now, a lot of stuff comes at you in a pretty short period of time. There's I think probably 11, 12, 13 corners out there where you're doing these sort of individual control inputs in like 1.6, 1.7 miles. So there's a lot going on in a compressed period of time. At the same time, though, you do have time to rest. There's a couple of straightaways where you can breathe a little bit, you can tighten your belts, you can prepare for the next thing. I think my biggest takeaway and probably my biggest surprise is just a lot of character, and that's kind of rare for modern racetracks. That they have a vibe, they have a personality to them, and the designer here, Bob Barnard, I mean, I know he's done stuff like Daytona, so the guy clearly knows what he's doing. But yeah, a lot of character here, and a great place to test, I would say, because you're going to get a lot of right-hand turns, a lot of left-hand turns, a lot of hard braking areas, and a lot of braking areas that are deceptive because sort of the rake of the road changes during the course of the braking area. So it really puts the car through a workout and puts your skills through a workout. So, what they've managed to do here on a relatively small patch of land is really impressive. They packed a lot into a fairly compact area, and it really gives you a lot of stuff to think about and a lot of stuff to have fun with. All right, so I have toweled off a little bit after hopping out of the car. But look, the appeal of a country club track is not just the track, although the track was pretty spectacular. It's the country club part. So here is Paul Scarpello, and he is going to show us around a little bit. And my first impression here, Paul, is this place, even for a simple country idiot like myself, is very non-intimidating, very friendly. Like, it seems like a place I would want to hang out. Is that intentional? Is that by design?
Absolutely, because that's what I want. I want to create this place where you could be a novice driver, you just love cars. Yeah, you shouldn't feel intimidated. You should be able to come out here with your car. You drive at your pace, right? And you should not be intimidated. That's the advantage to being in a country club versus just doing a track day, right? And so the camaraderie, the meeting of other fellow enthusiasts, but in a real comfortable setting.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a look around and see some of the places that they've got cars stored, they've got places for you to live, they've got places for you to work, and we're going to take a look here at Circuit Florida. So I'm a big fan of the track, but I'm also really interested in the community they're building here, which is unique because unlike many other motorsport country clubs, Circuit Florida is actually zoned for full-time residents. Yes, you can actually live at a racetrack. Now, it's not cheap, but if you look at the real estate climate in Florida right now, it's actually very much on par with what you would pay for any other lifestyle condo community, say in our area of Daytona Beach, and probably less than what you would pay in a really hot area like St. Petersburg right now. And did we mention you get to live at the racetrack? All right, look, if you have watched any of our content, you guys know me. You know that the only way that my name is going to be associated with the words country club is if the words escorted out are also in there. So I am not a country club guy. So if you're gonna build a racetrack country club, you gotta get the racetrack part right. And Circuit Florida has absolutely done that. This Bob Barnard designed racetrack out here is really, really fun, and it's really, really efficient too. It fits on a 60-acre footprint. It's kind of crazy how good it is. But also, the country club part is pretty nice too. It's very unintimidating. It's a place a guy like me could actually hang out and feel comfortable. They're actually building a little bit of a community here, which is kind of rare these days, and that's kind of what makes this place exciting. But look, for my money, this racetrack is really, really impressive, and more people should be talking about just how good it is and how we've got a racetrack in Florida now with actual elevation changes. That's pretty cool. So that was really kind of my takeaway from our visit to Circuit Florida today, is that you can do a motorsports community that actually focuses on the motorsports and puts a really cool racetrack right at the center of the experience. And you know, I applaud them for that. So good work, Circuit Florida. Folks, if you enjoy the stuff we are doing here at Grassroots Motorsports, do me a couple of favors. First off, give us a like on this video. I'm not even gonna ask you to smash the subscribe button. I'm gonna ask you to gently press it. It's the same result and a lot less stress for you, so I would really appreciate that. Check us out on the web at grassrootsmotorsports.com. Visit us right here at YouTube for all of our great multimedia content. We cannot wait to see you next time at the track.
Support brands that support Grassroots Motorsports. Get your chemical solutions from CRC Industries. Visit crcindustries.com to learn more.